Milwaukee Bucks have said bye-bye to one of their star players. No, they did not trade they did not trade Giannis, but they did leave many around the NBA thunderstruck, as it is game over for Dame Lillard there, and see you later. They agreed to a 4-year contract, $107 million for former Indiana Pacers center Miles Turner. You might remember he played for the Pacers for the longest amount of time of anyone currently on the Pacers. They were in the NBA Finals, and he was the top free agent on the market, and he is no longer at market. He has come off the market. Milwaukee did not have enough cap space to sign Miles Turner, so they circumvented the salary cap, proving yet again the cap is crap even in the NBA, and so they created the necessary room to add Miles Turner by waiving Damian Lillard. He was fired by the Milwaukee Bucks. Now, of course, in the NBA, when you're an all-star and you've got a decorated resume, they call it released. They don't say you're fired. They say it's released. Milwaukee will pay him more than $110 million. That's guaranteed money, the final 2 years of the contract, and it's essentially a dead cap hit. Something that happens quite a bit in the NFL world. It is happening now in basketball. So Damian Lillard, who dealt with the snap, crackle, pop, goes the Achilles during the playoffs, and the story is he's elated. Reports say Dame Lillard elated. The Bucks decided to get rid of him. So let us discuss the question, why is Damian Lillard so happy that Milwaukee is firing him? So I've got Hallmark, Telescope, and Alligator. And we will combine all of these things together, and we are going to put the biscuit in the basket is what we're going to do. So Dame Times, his reaction here is what we call a dead giveaway. It is a dead giveaway. He never wanted to go to the state of Wisconsin. Every man, woman, and child knew that paid attention, right? We all knew that. He didn't want to go there. Now, he didn't make a big stink about it, but deep down, he had his heart set on Miami. He was eyeing Miami, palm trees and cocktails and sunshine, and he went to overcast, dreary skies, chilly weather, Milwaukee. And the Trailblazers refused to accommodate Lillard's desires, his wants and needs back in the day, and so he went to Wisconsin there, and he didn't want to go there, and so he did his time with the Bucks, and now he has been given a Milwaukee mulligan. He's got the mulligan, Dame Lillard, and $113 million. Can you imagine? That's not punishment. Your employer is paying you $113 million. You don't have to work for them. My God. And the reason he's so happy is he's obviously not going to be playing for Milwaukee anymore, and Lillard will end up getting another at least $100 million on top of the $113 million. And this is a microcosm, is it not, of the modern NBA landscape in the year 2025. The superstar player gets the divorce. It is so routine now. It is so common. You do not even need a lawyer at this point. Now, this is more extreme than most, but Dame Time got his freedom, and he gets a big, giant cartoon-sized buyout check. The Bucks clear salary cap space, and everyone just hugs it out. It's like they're in a Hallmark movie. And Lillard moves on to his next team, and then that's that. And Milwaukee, on his way out, they say, all right, Dame, we'll give you a golden parachute. And its cloth has been weaved with gold. We melted it down, we weaved it in there, and it allows him to handpick his next team, whoever that might be, the usual suspects. And despite being on crutches, because his Achilles is all messed up and shredded, Damian Lillard will be doing the mating dance with prospective employers. They'll play footsie, and they'll flicker their eyes and all that. He will not be able to play until, at the minimum, February of next year. So he's going to miss October, November, December, January, maybe even the whole year. But the early reports are He should be able to play by sometime in February of next year. So where will he end up? Well, you keep an eye on the Heat. They don't have anybody good. They suck, the Miami Heat. So that's an obvious one. A team like the Denver Nuggets, could see them. They're shaking things up, moving some things around. Could see that. And who knows? Go back to the Trailblazers. Trying to win. So could go back there. He obviously regretted when he left. He's like, well, this life on the other side, the grass is not always greener. And if it is, maybe I don't like that green. I like a different shade of green. All right, meanwhile, so let's go now to the other part of this, and that's the Milwaukee Bucks part of it. Is it true or false? The Milwaukee Bucks were being reckless, as some indicated, by buying out Dame Lillard to get their hands on Miles Turner. This is being described. The word was used, reckless. That was the word that was used on this. So it's true or false. So on my scorecard, I wrote down false with a capital F. False with a capital F. Now, the idea that the Bucks were somehow reckless and going rogue and all that by buying out Damian Lillard's contract and pivoting towards Miles Turner, I find that laughable with a capital L. I do. This is not about being reckless. It's about a different R word, being realistic. That's the word I will use here, because in the NBA, you don't really build around a system or a culture. Everyone loves to talk about those things, but you don't really build around those things. You build around a superstar player. Period. Stop. And when you've got a once-in-a-generation player, Giannis Antetokounmpo, like the Milwaukee Bucks have their hands on, a generational talent, blah, blah, one-man wrecking crew, et cetera, the Greek god and high tops, all that stuff. You do whatever you have to do to pacify him, and so this is Giannis's franchise. We all know that, and they go to hell when he leaves. So if you look at this through a telescope, get the old telescope out. I mean, you look at the telescope. Giannis, in this solar system, in Milwaukee Bucks hierarchy, is the sun, he is the moon, he is the cheese curds. He is the cheese in Milwaukee basketball. And that's it. And this is the cost of modern contention, because once Giannis is done there, it's all over. Right? It's all over. So you either pay now or you pay later. So Giannis, when he walks out the door at some point, you figure he'll play with somebody else before he's done in Milwaukee, then it's all over. So the word is calculated. It's a calculated move because you say it's desperate if you want, and call it whatever. But I would not use the word reckless. I would not. And the move is about keeping Giannis engaged and smiling and all that stuff, and contending and competing, and but staying, because you got to have about 20 draft lottery appearances before you get another player like Giannis. And the moment that he leaves and the door closes behind him, Milwaukee becomes just another small market, go nowhere, filler spam team in the NBA, and they'll have the memories of Giannis, and then wherever he goes, they can watch him and the broken dreams of him playing for somebody else, and then maybe their arena will become haunted by the ghosts of what could have been. So you hold on to that. So if the price is, you got to pay $113 million in dead money for a guy that's not going to be on your team. You spread that out over a couple of years, but you do that because you get a couple more years out of Giannis before he demands to be traded to the Knicks or the Warriors or the Clippers or somebody like that. All right, now, the last word here. So were the Pacers being El Cheapo in letting Miles Turner leave for a team in their division, the Milwaukee Bucks? Because the story out of Indiana, Pacers riding high. They were in the NBA Finals here and the whole thing, and got all the way down to the bitter end of the NBA Finals, and that happened. So does a dog get fleas is my response. Were the Pacers being cheap? Let's see here. So let's do the arithmetic. So Miles Turner is gone. He's not staying in Indiana, not because he wanted to leave, if you believe his own words, not because of that, not because he didn't fit playing alongside Tyrese Halliburton, who's got his own Achilles injury, or not because he couldn't get it done on the court anymore, not because of that, not because he was not a productive member of the team. They got to the bloody NBA Finals, the Pacers did, and all that stuff. No. When you break it all down, you add the numbers up, and you put them in the calculator, Miles Turner is gone because the Pacers, the ownership group there, once again refused to spend. Like, you have to spend a certain amount. You get to a certain point, and everyone gets paid a lot of money there, and you have to pay to keep that talent together, and they didn't want to do it. It's not the first time. It's not the last time, and this is it. It's no different than in baseball, the Tampa Bay Rays, who every so often have a team that gets far in the playoffs, and then they immediately start dumping players. I can't afford this guy, can't afford that guy, and you're gone, and you're gone, and you're gone, and there you go. So just, hey, whatever success the Pacers have, we know that it will not last. It's just the latest example. And I have no skin in the game because I'm not there. I'm not a fan of the team. I just know from the outside, looking down from 30,000 feet, that this is a tradition. It is an endearing tradition of the Pacers. When the check gets really, really big, the Pacers, they pull back the pen is what they do. I don't want to pay that. It's kind of like when you go out to a nice meal with some friends and the check comes and it's time to pay the bill. And suddenly the Pacers, they're there, and they had a great time. They enjoyed the nice bread with the garlic olive dip there. They liked that. They liked the fettuccine Alfredo. They liked some of the other dishes. And then when it was time to pay, they become an alligator arms. Suddenly they can't reach the check. And that's the Indiana Pacers. They had success. They tasted it. Everyone seemed happy. There was a fluke run to the NBA Finals. And so how do they handle that? They're like, yeah, cheapness. Rick Carlisle and Halliburton, these guys were like, oh, yeah. Carlisle said it was a priority, that Miles Turner was a priority. Said that back in April. They all said the right thing. Of course, this is why you don't take what people say for more than just face value. And it was their priority until it came time to actually pay the money. And so keeping Miles Turner, we are told here that keeping Miles Turner around, that would have meant going into the dreaded luxury tax. Oh, my God, horror of horrors. That is something the Pacers have not done in a generation, 20 years. Haven't done it. Haven't gone there. Not going to do it now. So the Pacers blinked, and Miles Turner said, bye-bye. He bolted out of there like a horse running at the start of the Kentucky Derby, got out of there. And you can't really blame him for doing that. And Indiana had a chance to keep him. They futched around. They effed around, and they found out. They effed around. They found out. And so they chose their favorite player they love, the almighty dollar. Save a couple of shekels, and so the Pacers will save some dollars and all that. And while they did that, they watched the longest tenured player go out the door. And not just go out the door and go out somewhere in the Western Conference. No. He will come back to be a poltergeist, Miles Turner, at least for the next couple of years. Ooh, he will haunt them as he will be in the same division, a division rival, a team that the Pacers had owned in recent years in the playoffs. Well, now Miles Turner gone, and so they'll have to get somebody else and figure that out, throw it against the wall like spaghetti and see what sticks against the wall. Yeah, it's a sad story. Well, it's not a sad story. It's just a rather pathetic story. If you would like to comment on that or any of the other moving and shaking going on, busy time. You love the transaction. And who doesn't love the transaction